What am I holding in my hand today? It's an ordinary badge, right? You get a zillion of these at either conferences or when you visit companies where you don't work, and you get them and you toss them. But I have not tossed this. I got this last Thursday. 5 days later, I'm still hanging on to it. So I give them huge props for not only bringing us in, but basically allowing us to question everyone from the CEO top down to the call center agent.
I don't think it's completely false, but the narrative, to your point, is not complete, right? There's stuff missing. So it is a sincere shift to put on a finely produced roadshow. You will not believe what I'm going to say here. I agree with pharma. I'm totally on Lilly's side here. You just nailed the argument.
Hello and welcome to Debunked, where we analyze the past month's healthcare news with some personality and pizzazz. What am I holding in my hand today? It's an ordinary badge, right? You get a zillion of these at either conferences or when you visit companies where you don't work, and you get them and you toss them. But I have not tossed this. I got this last Thursday. 5 days later, I'm still hanging on to it. You'll know why, because this badge, such a badge, has never been created before. If you look at the top left, you'll see that I got to visit the largest healthcare insurance company in the world. Yes, that
CMS?
one. Nice. I should have said public company,
Yeah.
commercial company. So yeah, if you see the name of the company here, you know that I visited United Health Group. I basically flew from.
Now you can toss it.
I'm going to toss it now. It served its purpose.
Yeah.
So I flew there with a bunch of other reporters, influencers, and it was really interesting because it was like 15 odd journalists from the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, obviously MedCity News, Fears, Becker's, a social media influencer with I think more than 1 million followers. And then even a Gen Z news organization. And I was really excited about the Gen Z organizations because these people don't do news, and I was really happy about that.
They don't do news.
I think they've never done such an event before.
Yeah.
So generally, when companies have these events specifically for media, you know that there's some kind of news coming. Either there's like a company. They're buying a company, selling a company, they're doing some kind of sneak peek at a new product. Do you think we were privy to any kind of advanced news?
They probably showed you what they wanted you to see. I mean, I would, right?
Sure.
So you guys, Media Avengers showed up. Did you have capes? Did you have like a
God.
big M on your cape?
No.
Okay.
It was nothing like that. There was no news, traditional news as such.
Okay.
The news was essentially that they've never done anything like this. And even before I left, I asked them this, have you done anything like this before? And the answer was no. And so it dawned on me that the reason they're doing this is because they want to change the narrative. They want to change the hearts and minds of skeptical journalists, and through them, the broader American public.
Yeah.
I think we know why, given the tragic murder of their previous CEO, Brian Thompson, in New York in December 2024. I understand where they're coming from.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, it's if we go back to that news, right? For example, I mean, again, I'm not pointing you out, not pointing out a certain journalist or not, but in the media, I mean, I found it a little sickening how people were sort of just like, good it happened. Like they were like,
I mean, there were people, outrage. I don't know any traditional news organization celebrating. No.
But
please,
there were.
Please, I must protest. Please differentiate us
But
journalists from online media folks.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Okay, yeah. So that's
and just average people.
So it was disgustingly mocking, celebrating, right? And so, look, I think that's wrong. I understand you talk about a company overall. We do it on our show. We take stands and stuff. This is somebody's father, husband, son, whatever. And at the end of the day, they're an employee of the company too. So I
True.
just thought like, but you know, sensationalizing things, that's what we do in society.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, you know, things get carried away. And look, we have sort of seen, right, over the past, whatever, half decade, decade and a half, how media can be utilized, weaponized,
Mm-hmm.
right? So people take
Social
their
media,
information,
especially.
right, in like bite-sized formats. They follow certain people, and that person says, you know, if Joe Rogan says you're bad, then oh my God, I believe Joe Rogan. Everything he says, he's bad. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So that to me was tough, and you know, there's a little bit of that in there, right? Like in terms of
I mean, this is how I feel. I think you could hold two truths about the exact same situation. I think if I were to solely isolate the murder of Brian
yeah,
Thompson, CEO, shocking, never should have happened. You know, whatever anger you might feel towards a certain company, it should never come out that way. The online trolling is also sickening, but I think we miss the point if we solely dismiss the anger and say that these are just bad people saying really bad things. I think the truth is that there's some real pain that people feel as a result of certain United Healthcare policies, and I think that is what people were saying. And we know in the internet social media world, the anonymity leads to real poor behavior.
I totally agree. So
Yeah.
I don't. We're both saying the same thing. Totally agree that celebrating somebody's death is disgusting, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But then taking a step aside and looking at, well, what created this deranged person to go do this, or
Mm-hmm.
why? Yeah, the problem is real. I
Mm.
get that part. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Exactly.
But crucifying the you have to be careful about that, right? Like,
Yes.
how are you going to
Yes.
sort of
And
balance that?
so let me get back to the event. I think I give United, the team, the executives, and the
Yeah,
people who organized, an A+ for actually
yeah,
taking the initiative and to bring reporters in.
yeah,
It's always a double-edged sword when you bring media in. You don't know how they're going
yeah,
to react, right?
yeah,
And I say that as a member of the
yeah.
media. I know we are tricky people to deal with. So I give them huge props for not only bringing us in, but basically allowing us to question everyone from the CEO top down to the call center agent. We got to
Oh,
experience all these different
see, so
executives.
you were able to go into certain doors.
Yeah, well, they opened those doors
They
for
opened
us,
the
and we
doors.
walked through them. But
That
they
door's
did
closed.
not ever
Yeah.
say, I will not answer this question." All questions
Right.
were answered.
Okay.
So I do give them props for that.
Okay.
But I think the problem is that they're focusing on the fact that there's only negative news about them, and so if they talk about themselves and their positive news, the problems are going to go away. And I think that is I don't know, how should I describe it, incomplete. Let I'm gonna
Calculating.
no, I mean, it's naive if you think that if you just say how good you are and all the things that you're doing is amazing. It's naive. Let's start with the positive. So we had a fireside chat with Dr. Patrick Conway, CEO
Yeah.
of Optum, Tim Knowles, CEO of United
Yeah.
Healthcare, and there was a moderator from a former journalist, Terry Samuel, who was doing the fireside chat, and they went through, and he actually asked a question about trust. Not a softball question, but not a particularly hard question. He basically said, "Why should people trust you?"
Right.
And it allowed both Tim Knoll and Dr. Conway to talk about the things that they're doing that they think will help them to gain trust. And so they talked about how they've lowered hospital admissions by 18%, how they've lowered ER admissions by 11 to 12%. They're talking about by this fall how most of the rural prior authorizations, most of them are going to go away. They talked about an internal company goal that 80% of prior auth decisions will be real time at the end of 2027. So these are goals. Some of them are achieved, some of them are planned. So I think that was, helpful. But when I actually got the chance to when they opened it up for a Q&A, I was the first person to ask the question. Because,
Of course you were.
you know how I am.
Hello.
And I want everyone to hear the exchange. So this is
Okay.
right from my laptop, edited, non-edited, unedited, I should say, sorry. Take a listen and see what you think.
So I just wanted to expand upon what Terry talked about trust. I appreciate what you're doing, and it's great to have us in here. But the reality is, over the last at least year and a half, there are multiple negative headlines. Right? You have patients suing you for alleged wrongful deaths. You have employees suing you for trying to cut costs and affecting patients poorly. You have states suing you for inflating Medicaid codes to get better payment. You have health systems suing you for underpaying Medicare Advantage claims. So how are you a credible messenger of this is a new United and we care about patients? Because so far the history has not been very great.
Yeah, we obviously are, commercial standing in the marketplace and with the industry that's complex and you have multiple participants, health systems, care providers, patients, regulatory bodies, federal at the state level, in instances that can be incredibly nuanced. There are going to be commercial disagreements that occur. But it's concerning for us. And when there are instances where we feel like there are things we can do better, particularly on the member side, I think we've held ourselves accountable to that. Another thing we're doing on the trust and reputation side is we've moved to a more transparent mindset. We published the results of our medical prior authorization programs to our website at the end of March, and we're going to be doing something similar on the pharmacy side as well. Because at the end of the day, and when you really look at how we perform on audits that are performed by all these bodies, we perform really, really well. So when you do a full and complete rendering of how we're actually performing and you get into the actual results, we do well. But I do think we need to take lead to be able to show the totality of our performance, because these one-off scenarios that you're talking about are ones that call into question, is the totality of what they're doing broken or wrong, and stepping forward and showing this information proactively builds transparency and then accountability to the work that we're doing. And we're comfortable with the totality of that, and we're also, when we've had to state our case, we have done well.
If these are one-off, as you suggest, why are Senators Josh Hawley and Senator Warren, two from different parties, coming together to break up big medicine? It seems like the problem is much more acute than you're describing.
Yeah, I think I stand by the previous conversation that there's always going to be there's always going to be commercial disagreements. There's all political beliefs, and sometimes there is consistency amongst what those are on the left and on the right side. But for us, we're working in a construct that's complex, and we conform to those rules. A lot of times, with the case of certain folks in DC, they actually don't like the rules, and that's really what they're taking issue with. It's not the conformity of entities involved in that system's ability to actually follow the rules. It's more they don't like the rules, and we play by the rules that are set. But there's sometimes a lack of lack of consistency on whether or not those in DC think that they're the right ones.
Thank you.
So tell me, Samir, when you hear that,
Yeah.
is that satisfactory to say that all these lawsuits that virtually every kind of stakeholder has brought against you, these are one-offs, these are commercial disagreements? Is that satisfactory? Is the answer satisfactory?
Yeah, look, you framed it pretty accurately. It's incomplete, right? So you're going to talk about one-offs, commercial disagreements, framing that feels kind of, there's something missing there. Like, I need a little bit more here. So to me, I don't think it's completely false, but the narrative, to your point, is not complete, right? There's stuff missing. So it is a sincere shift to put on a finely produced roadshow. I mean, you're basically part of a roadshow, right? Like the incoming people, like,
Sure.
right? Like they weren't
Sure.
going around, but they kind of invited you guys.
Yeah.
And so I think we're sort of maybe starting to enter into a philosophy of transparency, right? Like trying to be transparent. Yes, they're trying to drive the narrative. There's been all this negative press, right? I mean, they've had one thing after another, right? The Change Healthcare thing, the CEO, lawsuits, all these things.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to set the narrative. It's a very look, this is completely out of the corporate handbook. This is completely out of the compliance corporate handbook. Change the narrative, talk about good things, address some of these things. But you have to sort of, if you're going to sort of lean into transparency, you have to go the full mile. And look, I'll also say this, like I'm an investor. I have companies that work with these entities, and I'll tell you, like when an entity like United Healthcare, I'm not saying it's United Healthcare or not, but I'm just going to say, I want to be confidential, so I'm going to just say entities like that or them themselves.
Yeah.
When they were going through these issues the last year and a half, 2 years, our portfolio company that was working with them, it was very quiet. They're like, hey, listen, we have some really structural things we need to deal with. We can't really engage with you right now. But guess what? Over the past 6 months, 8 months, I've seen a tremendous uptick with those companies working with these folks. And so obviously the companies we're investing in, they're in the innovation space. So it makes us feel good from two reasons, right? One, obviously it's great for our investment, but number two, our investments are obviously helping, right? Healthcare, right? They're helping expensive. They're very patient provider focused. So I sit there and go, wow, yeah, look, I'm seeing a difference. Like I myself can touch that difference.
Yeah.
So, but to your point, the picture is incomplete if all you do is this roadshow and say, oh no, let me talk about how cool and awesome I am. Part of social responsibility or corporate responsibility is to address the bad with the good. So transparency, if this is the case, then maybe it's a starting point. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a starting point. I mean, transparency is great, don't get me wrong, but acknowledging zero error, I think is not right. It's not right.
Yeah.
And it's assuming that people either have very short memories or are very forgiving, neither of which is true. Neither of which is true. I forgive, but I never forget. And some might agree that's never, you never truly forgive if you don't forget.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm. Look, we saw some really interesting technology. They brought in Google cloud person to talk about some of the things that they're doing in terms of using AI so that people can call in and figure out, okay, is this procedure covered? Is that, something covered? Because that's a normal question that everyone has. Is something covered? So they're trying. But the fact that he said in the totality, we don't see anything wrong that we've done. If you look at things and these are one-offs, I mean, that term one-offs, I heard from multiple people, from the CEO to the chief operating officer to the customer service agent who's in the call center. And so they're telling themselves that these are one-offs. And in my opinion, which is based on so many lawsuits, so many articles over the years, these are not one-offs.
Yeah, how do you define one-off?
Yeah,
Look,
these are not one-offs.
I think when you sort of address the part that you want to address, this is my classic, I want my cake and I want to eat it too, yummy.
Yeah.
Right? So, but here's the thing, look, I'm not blaming them because here's the one thing. Compliance legal are probably sitting there going, yeah, you cannot accept blame. Are you kidding me? Heck no.
Yes.
Let them say whatever they want.
Yes.
We're going to just say, look, all this stuff that we've done. And how you address something that you've done badly is you just talk about the improvements you're making.
Yes, which is very much.
You don't sit there, right? So that's what they're sort of doing.
Yeah.
They're talking about the improvements we're making. Like I said, they say, yeah, I screwed this up. You're a publicly traded company. You have legal. Heck to the no. Are you going to sit there and admit?
Yeah.
You can't.
And so this is where you come to the philosophical question
Yeah.
of, can you truly, truly serve patients if you also have to, serve Wall Street? And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Again, I will repeat that I truly appreciate that they brought us in and that they didn't really put any restrictions on
Yeah.
us. The one thing that we couldn't do,
Yeah.
we were inside a large room where they
Uh-huh.
had, like, I counted 35 LED panels from floor to ceiling and wall to wall.
Uh-huh.
And it was their, I'm forgetting the exact term, customer operations vitals. It's Cove. I'm forgetting the last bit. But
Okay.
essentially, it provides real-time feedback on all the customer-facing applications.
Wow.
And
Okay.
if there's a spike in, I don't know, people who are calling about GLP-1 claims,
Right.
then they can react to them in real time. In
Sure.
fact, I was like, what did this wall look like during Change Healthcare? And
Right.
the lady was
Yeah.
like, it was all red.
Yeah,
It was all red. So that was the only thing that we couldn't take a picture of.
Right. Makes sense.
Which makes sense. Again,
Yeah.
like I said, I truly appreciate the fact that they brought us in, but they truly believe that they're doing God's work. And something is lost in translation that people have reacted like that.
Yeah, no,
So-
look, you
there's
nailed
disconnect.
it. You the first point you made there, like, can you be a corporate and serve patients at the level that you can? I mean, it's like a thin line between love and hate, right? It
Very
truly
much.
is.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that you're trying to constantly walk the line,
Hmm.
and you're obviously gonna go like left to right of it. Yeah, that, man, I don't know. Like, that's a tough one.
That's a
I mean,
tough
you're
one,
trying to
and-
be shareholder driven, and at the same time you're trying to. I mean, look,
It's
there's
a tough one.
there's bad things happening in every company. Even if you saw, like, I don't know one company you can sit there and say, oh my God, they're so pristine.
No, I agreed with you.
Yeah.
Agreed with you. I think we have. I don't think that there's any company out there in healthcare that is like whose hands are clean. I've used this term everywhere.
Yeah.
Providers' hands are clean. None of these people's
Yeah.
hands are clean. But even with that caveat, I would say the animus that people feel toward United
Yeah.
is not at the same level as they feel towards a Humana or
No,
a
no,
Cigna.
no, because
or
it's
a-
also the biggest, baddest wolf in the room, right?
and
So
they've
they've
created
it.
some of the problems that they're
Yeah.
now trying to improve. And I'm
100%.
glad that they're trying to improve again.
What do they say? With the crown comes great responsibility.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think they feel some of that, and I'm appreciative of that. Again, I'll say one last thing before moving on. I've lived in the Midwest. Minnesota especially is a deeply, deeply insular state.
Yeah.
They believe everyone else can go to hell, and they will
Oh, yeah.
continue on, ice fishing and -2,
Right.
or -30 weather. So that is the culture of this organization. And for them to say, no, we need to bring outsiders in and we can shut them
It's a
out.
change from the norm,
Yeah.
right? Look, and the other
Yeah.
thing is, you
Even
mentioned,
if it was reactive,
Yeah.
even if it was reactive, I still will give them, they were
Yeah.
brave to do so.
yeah, and I think, look, maybe this is the beginning of something.
Yes, I hope so.
And so, like, right, you saw some small window open with a transparency flag waving from the outside.
Yeah.
Okay, great. You guys went there. Okay, you gave us a shot. Okay, let's see what the second act is.
Yes,
The third act
yes,
is. Is
yes.
this a thing to come? Are you going to continue to be so transparent,
Yeah.
even in your own flavor of transparency? Who
True.
knows? Or is this sort of like a one-off, and the next time you're invited is going to be like 10 years from now? Who knows?
Well, even though I'm
You know.
supposed to be a cynical journalist, there's an optimist hidden
Of
within.
course, that's what I'm saying, right?
Within, so I do
Yeah.
hope, for patients' sake, for the sake of our healthcare system, which
Yeah.
affects so many people, I do hope that
Look,
there is start of
Yeah.
something. It's there turning over new leaf, however
Yeah.
you want to.
Look, here's the thing, right? Like, to your point, like, we're always like, we're challenging norms, we're breaking down barriers and stuff, and we sometimes sit there and we've talked about, like, should FTC or government come and like break these things apart or whatever? But in the system that we live in today,
Yeah.
United has to exist. I mean, if United went away, you're covering a lot of people's lives.
No,
right?
no one is asking
No, that's
for
what
it to go
no,
away.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
My point is that, like, the whole, like, are they serving patients? Are they doing? yeah, I understand they're massive and big and whatever.
They're too
But
big to fail, so you can have them
yes,
go away.
that's what I'm saying. It would be a problem, right?
Yeah.
It would create a massive
But
problem.
I wouldn't, let's just put it this way. I'm curious to see how the Break Up Big Medicine Act progresses. The act
Yeah,
by
yeah.
Senator
Yeah, our friends.
Elizabeth Warren
Yeah.
and Josh Hawley,
Yeah.
bipartisan act.
I'm just like, and back to last thing on the United thing. Exactly. I mean, look, I'm not suddenly holding up a corporate United banner here, but I'm sitting there going, you know what I mean? What I'm
Yeah.
saying is,
You're being realistic. I
I'm
get
being
it.
realistic.
Yeah.
I'm saying, look, it's all about giving people chances, right? Like
Yeah.
we're the country of giving second, third, fourth.
Yes.
So if they're sitting there, if this is a thing that they can build on, and transparency is what they're showing, okay, let's see.
Yeah.
Show us.
All right. To be continued.
Buy United.
Moving on. Also on the lines of transparency or lack thereof, I was, curious to see this new development from Eli Lilly. We've talked about this before, the federal hospital 340B discount program, where pharma companies give certain health systems, covered entities, the ability to purchase medicines at deeply discounted rates when these health systems are taking care of uninsured, low income, or underinsured folks, right? And there's been we've written about it a lot about how pharma companies feel that this is being heavily abused.
Right.
And what health systems are doing is that they're saying they're buying in, cheaply, and then they're not really, it's not clear that they're necessarily treating the people that don't have insurance.
Right.
It seems like they're treating people with insurance, so they're charging the full rate, from it and getting reimbursed from their insurance, and the savings are not going to the people who need it, but going to the hospitals themselves. So we've talked about this. That is the allegation. And so Eli Lilly and Johnson & Johnson have complained about this, and Eli Lilly, in the beginning of the year, said that you have to now, you health system that are buying these, cheap drugs from us because of this 340B program, you're going to have to show evidence. You're going to have to show de-identified claims evidence that these are the people who you treated and these are the drugs. That's why we gave you this discount. So I want to just look at my cheat sheet here because they provided some information on that. So they sent a letter to HHS because it's all under that department. It said approximately 70% of covered entities buying Lilly medicines, totaling approximately 2,350 distinct entities.
Yep.
They have submitted in-house claims data. Okay? And this was a letter they sent sometime in June, which means 30% essentially didn't and will no longer be getting this discount moving forward. Now, previously, hospitals had really resisted. They had protested, things like that. But they're basically saying that this places a huge administrative burden on them.
Sure.
But I mean, I think if you're using the program to get the discounts, then you should be transparent and say, okay, here are the people that I treated using this program. So if you're taking the discount, you should have a clue who it's for, right? So that's my take on Lilly's move. I know they're making a ton of money. I get it. But still, I think it's fair of them to question where health systems stand on this.
Hey, look, who doesn't love a discount? I know my people love discounts. We love discounts.
Well, you mean my people, meaning Indians,
Of
South
course.
Asians?
No, maybe.
We are a cheap lot. Yes, go ahead.
Come on,
I
discount,
said it.
discount. Okay.
Yeah.
No, but honestly, if you're going to claim a safety net, you should be able to show who you actually caught.
Yeah.
Right? Some facts. 340B accounts for 7% of drugs sold. Okay.
Decent chunk, yeah.
And prices are 25 to 30% cheaper.
Cheaper.
Okay.
So it's a lot cheaper.
You will not believe what I'm going to say here. I agree with pharma.
Yeah. Yeah, no. This one
It's
I
not
do
shocking.
too. Yeah.
I'm totally on Lily's side here. You just nailed the argument. You're using it, and I'm just asking you for data. That's all I'm asking you for.
They don't have the people to
But that's
do
not
so.
my damn problem. It ain't my problem. How is it my problem? I got to run a company. I'm giving you something 25 to 30% cheaper, and you're telling me, according to this program that's blessed by the government, It's going to be used for underserved, uninsured people who really need it.
Yeah.
And and I'm just checking if you're not charging, right, the insured person and then just eating the fat in the middle, right? The 25
I
to 30%.
didn't describe it like that.
But 25, 30% is
Yeah.
a massive, dude, some of these health systems run on slim to none margins. And you can imagine drug costs is probably a huge part of their cost burden.
So they have you're saying that for their own financial health, they
Heck
should
to the yes.
they should dig up the data and give it to
I
Eli
mean,
Lilly and others.
It's kind of like,
Yeah.
look, they're not doing anything, quote unquote. I don't know. Like, I don't know if this falls under legal or, whatever.
Yeah.
It ain't like, it just ain't right. And the program rules are very clear.
Yeah.
Right. So I stand by pharma here. I stand by Lilly. Look,
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm giving you the discount. All I'm asking you for, look, you work for a company, you fly somewhere, you have a nice meal, and then you submit that I ate at Alexander Steakhouse. Give me $150. What does your company say to you? Answer the question. What do they say?
Go to hell.
No. No.
They'll be like, submit the receipt. We'll
Ah! What did you say?
do. Submit the receipt.
Receipt.
Even then, we work.
So-
Media companies don't have $200 to
But
throw around
I'm just
for
saying,
dinner. Yeah,
okay,
yeah. Alexander
so Lilly-
Steakhouse. Yeah.
I'm with you. Hospitals, where's the receipt?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
All right.
Where's the receipt? I love this. We have this whole transparency theme going on today.
We totally do. And, we've talked about transparency, not only in this episode, although this has been like the majority, I think, that we've
Yeah.
talked about it. And we've talked about it in earlier episodes too. And I keep going on and on about it. But transparency doesn't really mean that you're going to do the right thing. I think being transparent and being
Yeah.
ethical are slightly different. They're related, but slightly different. So I feel that we don't expect moral leadership from our corporations anymore. And I don't know why. I don't know why, because we think that the moment you're profitable, that means you're somehow not ethical. And I want to reclaim. I want our corporations, our
Yeah.
American corporations that are the most innovative in the world, to reclaim that moral leadership mantle. And again, proving myself to be the naive, optimistic human being and not the cynical journalist. I think we have, if companies like United Healthcare want to do the right thing, maybe they can. They just need to feel that moral leadership and Wall Street are not at odds with each other. At least I do really hope that they're not. But anyway.
First of all, as I quote Jerry Maguire,
Oh, jeez.
show me the data. Show me the data.
On
If
what?
they comply,
Yeah.
no, on the 340B.
On
Show me the data.
I'm
Show
talking
me
more-
the data. Okay, good. You're still in the 340B
I'm
program.
not on the 340B. I'm talking in general.
No, okay, so look,
about moral leadership.
transparency, I 100% agree. Transparency does not mean moral high ground and ethical high ground. It's, to me, but I will say this. It's the first step.
Yeah,
I will say it's a step in the right direction. Now, but let's park that thought for a second,
yeah,
okay? Let's look at the environment that we live in today.
yeah,
Right? And when I mean the environment we live in today, if you think about people running countries or running major organizations and stuff like that, transparency and moral high ground are like completely clouded. I totally agree with you that we need to come back to the middle. But right now, it ain't cool. It
Yeah.
ain't hot.
yeah.
You can be transparent. You can be super transparent, right? Our leader of this country tries to be super transparent. One can question the ethics and the morals behind it,
Very true.
but it don't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be transparent. Like we talked about this last episode, right? Congress, senators, congressmen have a insider trading act.
Yeah.
President and vice president don't.
Don't, yeah.
It is right there what was happening.
Yeah,
That's transparency.
yeah,
Is it ethical and moral? That's
No.
for somebody else to judge. So my point is, hospital CEOs or pharma CEOs or
insurance company
insurance
CEOs.
company CEOs, fine. Transparency is the first step in the right direction. I totally agree with you. We're in healthcare. We should be held to a higher moral ground, right? You're dealing with people's lives here. You're dealing with health.
Mhm.
But who knows? I mean, when the whole debacle happened with the mortgage crisis, you think those bank CEOs, I mean, money, look, money is as important as health, or health is as important as money. Money is pretty important. yeah, there was a lot of unethical and immoral people out
Yeah.
there. So my point is, should we hold them to a higher standard? Absolutely. And hopefully, to your point, it's the beginning of moving back to that direction.
Yeah.
It's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's unfortunate. It's not sometimes going to be like, I agree. I'm not naive to sit there and say, oh man, they're being transparent.
Yeah.
That means they're being ethically good or morally good. No, I get it.
Well, I do want to get us back to that, or at least thinking about that in our everyday actions, because I mean, again, being the naively optimistic person that I am, this is our July episode. We are celebrating our 250th.
250.
I'm not going to pronounce it like that. 250th birthday of this nation whose values and morals have always been a beacon to the world. And that's not just for those in government, but it is our corporations, it is our employees, it is all of us.
Citizens, as we go out there,
exactly.
right? Yeah.
All right. We have opined a lot in this episode. Thank you again for watching. Keep writing to us at debunked@medcitynews.com. And next month, we're recording in front of a live audience in Chicago. I'm going to feel like Bill Maher. I have too much hair to say Joe Rogan, although I don't know whether Joe Rogan tapes in front of a live audience.
I don't think so.
I think Bill Maher does. So anyway, I'll feel like Bill Maher.
I have no idea who I am.
All right. Thank you very much for watching.